Hello, good afternoon. I guess I'm live now. This is my second time doing a Facebook Live. So it's Monday, it's a fresh week, fall is in the air. I hope you're all well. I'm jumping on today to tell you a little bit about my upcoming fertility support group. So I call it my mind, body, and spirit fertility support group because in this group, we really like to explore our fertility from these three perspectives, from an emotional perspective, a physical perspective, and even a psychological perspective. And really, there's so much that I'd love to tell you about my group today, but to keep it relatively short, I'm going to just briefly summarize. And then if you have any questions afterwards, you're welcome to book a 30-minute complimentary discovery call with me. To let me know a little bit about your fertility history, and so we can figure out together if the group is going to be a right fit for you. So I know your time is precious, and I know if you are currently undergoing fertility treatments, it's like a second full-time job. So what I am aiming to do in the group is to be efficient with our time and to really try to cover as many bases as we possibly can. So the group is going to run on Saturdays. It begins September 7th, so that's just in 2 weeks from now. And it runs for 2.5 hours, so from 10 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And like I mentioned before, each week we're really looking at covering fertility from those three perspectives. So physically, emotionally, and spiritually, what can we do to help improve and boost our fertility? So each week we begin with a little group discussion. It's a very small space. It's an intimate group of only 6 women. So you'll feel very safe and secure in this environment to really be able to openly share about your challenges so far on your fertility journey. From the women in previous groups that have done this already, that's their feedback. That's been the favorite part of the group, is really just to come to this space and to be able just to talk openly in a room of women who know what they're going through because they're facing similar challenges. After the group discussion, we move to a little bit of education. So with my background as a science teacher, I like to teach. So every week I have a handout prepared for you. And in that handout, there are various tools, various practical exercises, some of them which we will perform in the group, and some of them which we will perform in the weeks in between. So in the handout, there's those exercises. There's also references to where you can get more information. So I've just basically looked at the entire internet to find really the best resources for you. So books, podcasts, websites, all of these things. So I like to, point you in the right direction of where we can really get reliable information for these types of things. In addition to that, I also like to provide references to other holistic specialists that specialize in fertility in Montreal. And everyone that I refer to, I've worked with personally for a while now, and I've even received treatment from these specialists myself. So I know that I'm referring you really to the best practitioners in Montreal. Finally, the last part of the program is fertility yoga. So I'm also a yoga teacher, and fertility yoga, if you're familiar with yoga, it's very similar to a form of restorative yoga. So we look at holding postures for a very long time, and the postures that we do are postures that are to promote circulation in your reproductive organs. Not only is it going to promote circulation, but it's also going to help balance your nervous system, help really take you out of that fight or flight mode, that stress response, into more of a rest and reproduce or rest and digest mode, so helping bring your nervous system into balance. We end the fertility yoga with a guided meditation and guided visualization. If you've never done this before, it's really kind of the cherry on top of the whole 2.5 hours together. It's to allow you to really strengthen your mind-body connection and to let you go a little bit deeper into relaxation. What I also do is I record these guided visualizations so you can listen to them at home and in the time in between we meet on Saturdays. So quickly, just to give you a little overview of the topics that we see in our 6 weeks together. So week 1, the title of week 1 is Making Space for Your Baby. So we look at ways that we can rediscover joy and balance in our lives, because all too often if we are undergoing fertility treatments, that tends to take away a little bit from the joy and the balance that we would normally have if we weren't doing those treatments. In week 2, we look at your womb being your second heart. So from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, the womb is seen as being your second heart center. So we explore a little bit traditional Chinese medicine as well as acupuncture, and I explain how these practices can help increase your fertility. Week 3 is cultivating a fertile mindset, which is probably my most favorite week, and I'd say maybe the most important of all the weeks, because research shows there's without a doubt now today that the thoughts that we think have a profound influence on the way our physical body responds. So if we are currently saying things to ourselves that are not the nicest of things, if we're not in that positive mindset, then that can definitely have a repercussion on our fertility treatments and as well as how our body is going to be reacting. So we do a little investigation of looking at some of the limiting beliefs that we might have, and we look at how do we restructure those cognitively so that we start to think a little bit more positively. Week 4 is learning your Ladyparts language. So in week 4, we learn to tune in to our particular body signs. So every woman's body is a little bit different. So I explain how we can really look at those signs to figure out when we're most fertile, so that we know when to optimally time intercourse. Week 5, nourishing your mind, body, and spirit. So there's a lot of information and misinformation out there on the internet about fertility diets. So I look to demystify that a little bit and to provide you with a little bit of guidance on the things you should and shouldn't be eating while you're trying to conceive. And the last week, week 6, is putting it all together. So after we spend 6 weeks together, and then the group ends, we continue actually. So all of those who join the group are invited to join my virtual group so that we can continue to stay in contact with one another. But in week 6, we look at just some goal setting and how we can really put into practice all of the things we learned over our 6 weeks together. So that's a little bit of a summary. This series, so this is the 3rd time I'm running the group, and I'm going to be adding a little added bonus. So I've recently, with my personal clients, I've started to use essential oils for increasing fertility. So I'm going to be providing every person that joins the group with 2 little rollers that are rollers for hormonal balance and looking at the follicular phase and the luteal phase. So 1 roller for each. So that's going to be a little added bonus for this series in September. So there's still a few spots left. If this group speaks to you, if you'd like to know more about it, please see the link in the comments to either book a discovery call with me or to register if you're ready to register. So I wish you a beautiful sunny day, and I hope to see you in the group.